Hello and welcome back to Wonderland Asylum. We're back today with stage 15 of the Hachette Partworks release of Build the U96 U-boat. So, after the feat of engineering that was stage 14, what are we doing in stage 15? Well, it's a bit more modelling. Fortunately, it is the deckhead for the forward compartment. So basically, it's a lot of sprues and glue. Whew. Which is nice after all the engineering that was in the last stage, where it was all tolerances and gears and feeding chains through very, very small gaps. Yeah, this is a bit more kind of classic Airfix style modelling. But without further ado, let's have a look and see what's in the pack. Okay, so in the pack for stage 15, we have the deckhead itself, looking just like that. We have a sprue with some, well, they're calling them details, but they don't look very detailed to me. Just some grey shapes on it. I'm going to have a wee go at detailing these in, I think. We have the torpedo rail, which is going to require my tweezers to get out of the box. Looking just like that. We have the two sides of another torpedo. Now, obviously, that's going to need to be detailed in red. We have the propellers for the torpedo. We have another set of, again, they call them details. Nicely detailed, but not painted or picked out in any way, shape or form. And I do believe there should be, yes. Oh, I only need one, but two axles, again, for the torpedo. So without further ado, I'll get that out of the way. So what we're doing to start with, so obviously I've got my glue here, and what I use to apply my glue is this, which is just a hand drill with a straightened paper clip. In the end, it gives me more control over where the glue ends up. So turning this way, we're taking parts F and C off of this sprue here, which are these two parts just there, looking like that. Now again, I don't use a knife or a scalpel to cut bits off of sprues. I use a pair of sprue cutters, just because I feel they distribute the pressure more evenly, so you're less likely to break parts off or damage them. Okay, so part C, which is just a kind of flat box, it's going into these two indents just there. So drop some glue into the two indents, and part C, just line the two tabs up and push it in just like that. Very nice. And part F goes in here, just ahead of these two holes. So you can see it has diagonally opposed pins, and which way, because there are details on that side, they're pointing towards what's going to be the front. So it goes in this way with those details facing towards the smaller side, and it goes into these two holes just here. And again, don't know how well you can see, but if you look, there's those details, and they've to face towards the slimmer end. The other side is blank. Okay, so that's as much of a point of reference as you're getting. And it goes on there looking just like that. And the next two bits we need are off of the same frame, and they are parts B and E, which are these two parts there, again opposite each other. And what we're doing is we're taking part B and sticking it into part E, just like that. Now that holds quite well without glue, so I'm not going to need to glue them. And it is going into these two indents just there, just below where we attached part C, I believe it is. So it's going into these two indents just here. Again, there's no point of reference, so it'll fit either way. And it looks just like that. Now the next bit we need is part A. Which is this part here, which looks kind of similar to part B really. Go. And part A is going right above where we just put part B and E into these two indents. Again, there's no point of reference. There's a little bit of flashing that I'm going to try and take off, but it's difficult because of where the sprue is attached to it. It's very difficult to get in at it without rubbing detail off the side, but hey ho. Okay, so again, no real point of reference, no real way to tell which way is up and which way is down, because it's the same either way. And just follow the spacing on the pins, as you can see, just like that. And it'll fit into, pins will fit into the two indents in the ceiling, because this is the ceiling, I believe. And it looks just like that. And the next bit we need is the last part on this sprue, this part here. And when you're cutting it off, be careful not to cut that tab off, because that's how it glues in. Because this part sits vertically. So yeah, when you cut it off, don't cut that tab off. And that's that sprue empty. So get it out of the way. And part D2 has a little bit of flashing on it. There we go, that's that all smoothed off. And it goes into this indent here, but there's a hole in the side of it and it has to face backwards, so it's going in there with the hole facing towards the back. I'll just glue that in. Just in there. Like that. Perfect. And the next thing we need are off of this sprue, and it's parts H and K. Now I believe that, yeah, that's these two parts here. The part with the wheel on it, that's the exact same colour as the rest of it, so there's no detail. And the other side of the wheel housing. Now it says push these together, so I'm assuming there's no need to glue them, similar to the two parts we had a moment ago. But let's see how well they fit, because obviously this is all going to be encased in the hull and it's going to be difficult to get to. Yeah, I'm going to just dab a little bit of glue just to make sure. Go. Oh dear. Fingers started to shake there, did you see that? Probably because I haven't eaten this morning yet. Okay. Again, sand off the burrs on the end there, because that will be seen. And it's going to be fitted into these two dots with the wheel facing towards B and E. Again, just a little bit of glue in there. Slot that in. Perfect. Now part I, which is that little bit there, it goes right next to it. And it goes with the button detail, because you can see there's a button on one side and the other side is completely flat. So the button detail goes towards here. There we go, it goes in just like that. And the next part we need is this bit that looks like, what was that big machine from the kids' TV show? Was it Matilda or something like that? That's what it reminds me of. It's got a face on it. As I say, I might come back and detail this, but looking at where it's all sitting, it's mostly going to be hidden anyway, so I suppose that's why I've not bothered. But I might come back and do it anyway for my own peace of mind. As I say, it goes into these two indents just here, and it faces this way, looking just like that. And the next part is part N, which looks like that. The part looks almost like a seat back. And it is going to sit in those two slots there. And if you look at the shape of it, you can see it looks almost like a till. Those details are going to be facing this way. So it's going to go in just like that. Okay. Into these two slots just here. And then we've got this part here, which is part L. Again, it's going to need sanded a little bit. I think I'm actually needing new sprue cutters. I think these ones are getting a bit blunt now, because I'm starting to find I'm having to sand more and more parts, which I didn't used to when I first started using them. Okay, and same with the other side, just a gentle little file down. Perfect, and that little bit of sprue can go in the bin. Again, there's no point of reference on it. It's going into these two indents just here. It's going to be a tight fit with part D already in there. But it goes in to these two indents just like that. Very nice snug little fit. And the last two parts, remembering to cut the sprue piece off of that one and chuck it in the box as well. This part here, and part M, which is this part here, and that's that sprue empty. I do like to show the empty sprues to the camera, if only for my own reference really. So this part here has two pins on it, you can see there. It's going into these two pinholes here, with the thick part facing backwards into the room, more or less, if that's you want to call it, because that's what it is at the end of the day. This is one of the rooms that we're going to be able to see. And then this piece here, part M, it follows the curve of, as I say, this is the ceiling, I'm sure. And it goes into these two indents. Just here, with the detailed section facing the piece we've just glued in a moment ago. Looking just like that. So the next thing we need is the torpedo rail, which looks like this, and it's going into these two holes here. Now let's see, does this need glued, or is it no, it needs glued. It definitely needs glued. So again, a little bit of glue in here. Just check there's what specific ways it meant to go. Yep, I had it right. The end that looks almost like a gun barrel sight, it goes backwards, leaving the perfectly flat end up at the front. Just like that. And as I say, bear in mind, this is the ceiling. So when you're looking in, it'll sit kind of like that. So again, very nice amount of detail. Probably not going to see too much of it in fairness, but hey ho. And the next thing we're going to be doing is working on the torpedo. So I'll get one of the axles out of their package. Nice of them to give us a spare axle, I suppose. They didn't do that with the previous one, so wonder if they only have bags of two. I'll keep that one as a spare, and I'll cut the propellers from the sprue. I do love the colour of these propellers. Don't know how accurate it is, but I think it looks cool. Again, empty sprue in the bin. Thread the axle through the two propellers. Take the torpedo, put the propeller in the end. It has a channel for the axle to go in. Not that you're ever going to be sitting spinning the torpedoes, but hey ho, it does it anyway. Again, just a little touch of glue in the end and squiggle some here because that doesn't always seal too well. Again, just a little dab of glue into each of those end pieces. Line the torpedo up with the other half. And that's all lined up. Why is it not going together? There we go. It's the end that's not happy here. That's why. To prise it back apart. Because when I moved it, the propeller jumped out of its thing. 2 seconds, I'll fix it and I'll be back in just a tick. Sorted. Okay, so what had happened there is the propeller had jumped and it had come out of its axle, or the axle had come out of its mounting spot, so it wasn't allowing the rear of the torpedo to mesh up properly. But sorted now. And it tells us to glue this, but I'm going to leave it in case I need to remove it to put everything together later. And I think it's quite a tight fit anyway. Yeah, tells you to stick the torpedo onto its rail, just like that. And with that being done, that is us for stage 15. I'm very chuffed with that. So that one wasn't too bad. Quite enjoyed that. So yeah, that's what we've made so far. It looks pretty cool, doesn't it? And again, you'll be seeing it from that sort of angle. So yeah, looks pretty good. Aye, so that was stage 15. What's coming in stage 16? We have the bunks and the deck. So basically, the bit that goes on the bottom here. Some bunks for the crew to sleep on, and a couple of little detail pieces. So I'll probably just crack on with that just now, although you probably won't see it till the next day. But yeah, as always, any feedback, comments, criticisms, complaints, drop them down below. Do leave me a like and do subscribe to the channel because it helps out massively, and it'll let you see the rest of the U96, the rest of the Titanic, the rest of the Lancaster bomber, and another that may appear soon. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and as always guys, peace out.